Hey guys, welcome to the Direction Motivation Podcast. My name is Tyler Watson, and today we're diving into the illusion of happiness. Let's go. When was the last time someone asked you if you were happy? Sure, everyone asks, how are you doing? Hoping to say something short and sweet so that they can get on with their day because in all reality, they don't really care and certainly don't want to be inconvenienced by you or I. But when was the last time you had that question asked of you? Sure, I think if we're all honest, we are chasing this illusion we call happiness. I mean, happiness isn't necessarily an illusion, but rather a complex and multifaceted emotion that can be influenced by various factors such as individual perspectives or life experiences and mindset. Philosophically, some argue that happiness may be transient or subjective, leading to the idea that can be elusive. However, many also believe that with the right understanding and approach, individuals can achieve genuine and lasting happiness through meaningful connections, purposeful living, and personal fulfillment. What are your thoughts? Are you, dare I say, happy? See, we've been sold this idea that material possessions, a certain lifestyle, or even a particular relationship status will bring us happiness. But when you finally achieve that thing that the world has promised us that would make us fulfilled, it's almost as if the happiness begins fleeting again. See, we're bombarded with images and messages about what happiness should look like, but often it feels so unattainable. We scroll and scroll through our apps and our digital devices, and literally we become so addicted and stuck to them we don't realize the gifts that are right in front of us daily for free. One being the opportunity to just talk to your neighbor. But the pandemic did such a work on many of us, we get social anxiety even thinking about starting a conversation with someone we know, much less someone we don't know. It's the 1% project, this idea that we must reach a level of perfection in what we do because that's all we see. The algorithms of social media show you the best of everyone in the field. Think about it. There are literally 4,000 churches that open up every year in America. Yet when you think of music or churches, you think of Elevation Church. You think of Bethel. Maybe you think of North Point. There's a lot of other churches that maybe you think of, but because of that comparison, the games begin. If your church doesn't sing these certain songs, or they don't have those lights, or maybe they don't have donuts and coffee, you're thinking you're missing the mark and that maybe you're not good enough. It's the same with every other category of our life, this idea that we must be more, do more, have more. Because if we don't reach the same level that is repeatedly shown to us, we are failures. Our very existence as we know it is purposeless, and that is such a lie. What about everyone else, I guess, then? I guess their lives don't matter either. Did you know there are over 8 billion people on the planet, half of which make less than $2 a day? Did you know that 26% of our population doesn't have clean water? Did you know that 783 million people are estimated to still go hungry without food this week? If the standard of happiness and success, the way Americans have been brainwashed to describe, is becoming famous through having a big platform, having a big house with luxurious cars and status, then I guess a little girl in South Asia can't be successful then, huh? I guess those people will never know what true happiness is. I think actually it's reverse. I think it's arguable that they may be happier than you and I. And to think there are so many that would trade places for your life immediately, no questions asked. They just do it. But yet we are so caught up in the battle of comparison that we can't even enjoy how far we have come, can we? My hope is that I can help you and others with that today. Here's a story. In 1983, there was a young talented guitarist who was kicked out of his band. The band had just signed a huge record deal and they were headed to record their first album. But a couple days before the recording began, the band kicked the guitarist out with no explanation or warning. They literally woke him up and sent him home on a bus. As the story goes, he was pretty upset, and on his way home, he decided to start a new band. He decided that this new band would be so successful and that his old band would forever regret that they ever kicked him out, and he would become so famous, and they would just be jealous because they would be flipping burgers at home while they're watching him have wild success. This idea led him to working and working and working and working. He spent months finding the best musicians he could find. He wrote a lot of songs and practiced religiously. His seething anger fueled his ambition. His revenge became his muse. And within a couple of years, his new band had signed a record deal of their own. And after a year of that, they would first record. Their first record would go gold. The guitarist's name was Dave Mustaine, and the band he formed was the legendary heavy metal band Megadeth. Megadeth would go on to sell over 25 million albums and tour the world many times over. Today, Mustaine is considered one of the most brilliant, influential musicians in the history of heavy metal music. Unfortunately, the band he was kicked out of was Metallica, which sold over 180 million albums worldwide. Metallica is considered to be one of the greatest rock bands of all time, and because of this, in a rare intimate interview in 2003, a tearful Mustaine admitted that he couldn't help but still consider himself a complete failure. Despite all the success he had and accomplished, in his mind, he would always be less than the band that kicked him out. You see the problem, don't you? When the comparison is what's pushing you, you become a winner at a losing game because now nothing will bring you complete happiness. The happiness that you deserve, because that happiness isn't real. It's an illusion. But I want you to stop and just reflect in this very moment. Look at where you are today. You made it. You may not realize it, but you made it. If we can just stop and quit looking around, if we can just appreciate that we have transportation in our garage, that we don't need another new car, that we don't have to trade in old Rusty because it still has 4 wheels and a good engine and it's reliable. You, my friend, shouldn't lose joy because someone pulls up next to you at the red light in a new Tesla. Happiness comes with reflection. Happiness comes with contentment and a heart of thankfulness. And here's what you have to know. I'll become happy when I become grateful for what I have, not what I could obtain. You probably heard about people that write down 3 things each day. Maybe it's in the morning before they get going of what they're grateful for, or maybe it's in the evening before they go to bed. It's an incredibly positive exercise because it gives you a quiet moment to focus and truly reflect on the blessings that you have. And the coolest part about it all is you can reflect and have a heart of gratitude, and it translates to happiness, which pours into your home. And in the words of Mother Teresa, if you want to change your world, go home and love your children. But how are we doing with that? Let me give you some advice. We need boundaries more than ever in America. Social platforms and technology are taking over our lives. The first thing we do when we wake up without even being aware of the harm we are causing to ourselves, our relationships, and our families, when we choose a virtual world to be more significant than our reality. When we take a phone and check our emails and our lives become that of reaction with no time to process or just be grateful for waking up. Choose to be intentional. Choose those who matter the most. Choose your mental health. Say no to comparison. Say yes to reflection. The best future you have is the one that's right in front of you. There is no job that will fulfill you. There is no mountain that you can climb that will make you say, wow, we finally made it. The only happiness that exists is that which comes through great content and great reflection for what we have already been blessed with. It's not a poor person's ideology or concept. This doesn't mean you can't be wealthy or strive for success in your business. It just means doing it with joy, knowing that if tomorrow you don't gain another cell, it doesn't define your happiness and who you are as a person. I hope today you will take time out to reflect on where you are. Be proud of yourself. Be thankful that you have what you have and that when you go to bed tonight, breathe deep, my friends. Because one of the most dangerous things we can do and one of the most poisonous things we can inject ourselves with is this idea that if I don't become what I see and I don't become what I compare myself to, I'll never be successful. The Grammys were just recently, and I don't know if you saw it, but I saw it. I watched Jay-Z, his wife Beyonce. They're incredibly famous. They're incredibly wealthy. They have more than probably almost anyone in this world except a few. And yet when he came up on the stage, he was upset because his wife has won more Grammys than anyone else, but she's never won an album of the year. How can someone that's been so disgruntled, that's been so frustrated with the fact that they've not obtained one award, but yet they have everything else, what everyone else is trying to strive for? It's easy. It's a battle of comparison. We get sucked into the game, and believing that if we don't have something, that we won't truly be as successful as we desire to be. You have to fight against that. You are successful because you woke up today. You've got people to love. You've got friends to be around. You've been blessed beyond measure. You, my friend, are enough. You don't need anything else. You don't need anyone else. I hope you've enjoyed this first episode of The Illusion of Happiness. My name is Tyler Watson. We'll see you next week.